Okay, so this one is cash for conversion cycle. It basically measures how many days it takes a company to convert its inventory into cash, right? And generally, the cycle starts with the company buying the inventory first. So for example, if today I'm NTUC, it starts with me buying Coca-Cola and then selling it to my customers, collecting my money, so on and so forth, and then paying my suppliers. How many days does it take for me to convert that inventory to sales, to payables, and back to cash, right? It measures how fast the cash becomes cash again. And it's helpful to visualize this in a diagram form, right? And so the cash conversion cycle will start with cash first, the cash to buy the inventory, and subsequently the inventory, it measures how many days I take to pay my suppliers, that would be accounts payable, and then how many days it takes for me to sell these products into sales, and eventually how many days it takes for me to collect my money from my customers, right? And this will form one complete cycle. And we measure the number of days it takes from it to go to cash, to inventory, payables, sales, receivables, and back into cash again. Now, we always want to invest from a business owner point of view. Cash conversion cycle, do you want it to be long or short, right? Do you want a short cash conversion cycle or a long cash conversion cycle, right? Let me know in the chat. Do you want to collect your money fast or slow, right? So I see quite a few responses. So most of you, Mei Hui short, Gerald, Chong, YC, Ryan, Rebecca, Rosalie short. So excellent. So as a business owner, we always want it to be short, right? Meaning we don't want to keep the inventory for too long because there's cost involved, and we don't want to pay our suppliers that fast, right? We want to pay our suppliers as slow as possible, but we want to collect from our customers fast, right? Okay. So with that in mind, this is the cash conversion cycle formula, right? Cash conversion cycle equal inventory days. How many days the item actually stay in your warehouse, and then receivable days, how long it takes for your consumer to pay you, right? So when it takes these two part of the equation, it is how long it takes for you to sell your item and collect payments. And then you minus your payable days, right? Payable days, you want it to be as long as possible, which is why it is a minus, right? And this is how slowly you pay your suppliers, okay? It'll become clearer when I show you real life examples. And you're going to be shocked by one of the companies, like how slowly they pay suppliers. Okay, so cash conversion cycle, when it comes to Coca-Cola, right? Their inventory days is 79 days, meaning an average Coca-Cola will stay in the warehouse for close to, 79 days, right? Yeah, it's close to 80 days. And then they will ship it over to your NTUC, your Costco, your Sheng Siong, so on and so forth. And they typically take about 31 days to be paid. All this information, I'll show you how to get them later, right? And payable dates, how long they actually take to pay their suppliers. They take 95 days, so they are able to take their own sweet time. Can you calculate the cash conversion cycle for me and let me know in the chat box? What is Coca-Cola's cash conversion cycle, right? It's actually quite straightforward, but just to practice the muscle. 15 days, right? So Sam, Ravi, thank you. So 15 days. All right, so now I'm going to show you Apple's cash conversion cycle, right? The typical iPhone only stays in the warehouse for 9 days. Amazing, right? They don't keep the item in the warehouse. So there's very low risk of technology obsolescence, right? They don't keep the iPhone for long, which is also why it is frequently out of stock. They don't keep it very, very long in the warehouse. Only 9 days. And the receivable days is 32 days. Now, some of you may be wondering, I thought like we pay instantaneously. Yes, we pay instantaneously to the Apple at Apple Store on their website. But the credit card companies typically take about 30 days to pay the merchant, which is why it is usually around 32 days when it comes to Apple Store. There's no reason, Apple has so much power, it will get the cash back in the shortest amount of time. So for Apple, that is 32 days. And the payable days, this is how long they take to pay companies like Foxconn, right? One of their suppliers, they take a whopping 115 days to dilly-dally and slowly pay their suppliers, right? Could you calculate the cash conversion cycle for Apple for me, right? And let me know in the chat box, what is Apple's cash conversion cycle? Right, so Ravi, extremely fast, negative 74 days, weighing negative 74 days. So do you think negative is a good thing or a bad thing when it comes to cash conversion cycle, good or bad? It's excellent, right? So a lot of you, excellent. So the reason why I'm going through this live case study is because whenever I say negative cash conversion cycle, most people will think like, huh, why negative is good? But when I show you and you think from a business owner point of view, when my cash conversion cycle is negative, effectively, I don't need to put money into this business to run the business. I am running the business on whose money, right? Bonus question. If the cash conversion cycle is negative, that means when I run this business, whose money am I using? I'm not using the shareholders' money. I'm not using my own money. Whose money am I using? Customers' money, suppliers' money. So a lot of you are extremely sharp, yeah. So by collecting the money fast from your customers and dilly-dallying to pay your suppliers, you are effectively using your supplier to run your business, suppliers' money. And what happens to the excess cash? Most of the cash from Apple can just be given back to the shareholders, right? I think over the past few years, they spent hundreds of billions buying back shares and giving out dividends. Which is why when Warren Buffett buy in 2016, right, I think his investment has effectively 500%, right? So every 10,000 became $50,000 in a short time span of about 4 to 5 years, because he understood that Apple it's not just because of this cash conversion cycle. Back then, Apple was extremely cheap. And I'll leave this to the valuation example later tomorrow to explain why Apple was extremely cheap. But when it comes to Apple, right, Warren Buffett understood this. Apple is a company that don't need capital to run, right? Because they are using their supplier money to run the business, right? So whatever spare cash could be used to reward shareholders. So weighing us, how do suppliers make money? Yeah, so I mean, this is unfortunately capitalism, right? Whoever has the power will get to squeeze the other party. And in this case, Apple is not the other one. Amazon is another legendary monster when it comes to doing this. Yeah, and Ravi is right. So the supplier makes money through large volume, and it's not that it's unprofitable to the supplier. It's just that it is wasted opportunity for them, because if Apple pay them back early, right, can you imagine what the supplier can do? Even if you just put in short-term money market fund, you earn 2 to 3%, right? So this is one example of what they could have done with the money. So unfortunately, because Apple is huge, if you want to do business with Apple, you just got to accept their terms. So Amazon is the other one which is ridiculously slow in paying their merchants, right? Is this, Gerald, is this how it's been all along? I don't think they would have this part. Yeah, so if you're a small company, you generally won't have this bargaining power, right? It is only after you reach a certain size, and then most people will have to kowtow to you, right? Most of your suppliers will have to do that to you. In fact, fun fact, most of the beverage companies, they have to give 30 days to Costco, Walmart, Sheng Siong, NTUC, Cold Storage, so on and so forth. There is one company in Southeast Asia that actually managed to collect money before they deliver their beverage to our NTUC Cold Storage, meaning they too have a negative cash conversion cycle, and their receivable days actually is negative, which is quite amazing. This is the only company in the world that has more power than our grocery store, our supermarkets, right? NTUC and all that. Do you want to guess which beverage company is this? Their items is extremely popular in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, so on and so forth. Make a guess. Which company? Yeah, so Mei Hui, extremely sharp, right? Milo, yes. Nestle, that is listed in our Malaysia Stock Exchange, has more bargaining power than our grocery store. And they are the only one who can do that. Our Unilever and all that. They have to provide about 30 days credit terms to our supermarkets. But when it comes to bargaining power, Nestle Malaysia has much more bargaining power than our local supermarkets, right? Yeah, so that is correct. Okay, so back to what I mentioned just now, right? So negative cash conversion cycle is awesome, right? Because you are effectively borrowing from your suppliers. Otherwise, most companies actually have a positive cash conversion cycle, but the shorter it is, the better it is. Again, how do you know whether this is good or this is bad, right? Because different industry will have different standards in terms of how long they can owe money and so on and so forth. You always want to compare it against historical trend. You want to see it slowly going down or at least hold stagnant. And then you compare it again with your competitors. And how to calculate, right? Actually, we don't have to know how to calculate because a lot of free websites will do it for you. And so like when you go to websites like this is Morningstar, you just have to type in the stock ticker. And so in this case, I just type in Apple, right? AAPL, the stock ticker. You hit operating performance and you are able to start to see, you know, all these like inventory days, sales outstanding and then payable. Sales outstanding just means your account receivables. So all these are calculated for you. But if you like to know the formula, right? So step 1, step 2, step 3. In 3 steps, you'll be able to get all of them. And you'll be able to start comparing against history and then against its competitors. Very simple stuff. So this is the 3 steps. Go to Morningstar and then type in all these figures. If you want to know the formula, which is not compulsory for you to do so, this is the formula to calculate all this, but totally don't need to do it. Don't need to introduce pain into your life. Just go to Morningstar and the figures will be provided to you and you can compare it immediately.